Thank you, George. We appreciate that. We've got 6 minutes now past the top of the hour. Thanks so very much for joining us here at Insight on Business, brought to you by FWRSA. FWRSA, working hard for you until the cows come home. It's a great tax service, by the way, kids. If you haven't done your taxes yet, they also do walk-ins up until, I think, 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night. FWRSA in Clive, Iowa. All right, we're going to talk about co-creating your next product or service. What are we talking about? Who says that you have the very best idea for your product or service? Probably you, right? Right. Well, would it surprise you that a number of very successful companies are taking a look at how they can co-create their product or service with whom? Their customers. Why not the next time that you're going to develop something, co-create it with individuals out there who are in your stream? So let's talk a little bit about that. We've got several tips for you, 4 tips as a matter of fact, on how all of this works. Solid ideas, successful new products that you can work out with your consumers. The first thing to do is that you clearly have to listen to your consumer. I mean, you know, if you want to come up with the next best, greatest idea, listen to what your consumers are saying about their wants and needs. Also, listen to what they're saying about your existing products and services. Are they getting a little tired? Are they getting a little worn out? Are things just not as spectacular as they were when they were brand new? Highly probable. So listen to your consumers and ask them questions about your product and service, and then take copious notes. Write it down. That's tip number 2. You're not going to remember all this stuff. If somebody's got a comment or a question about your product or service, you're not going to remember this. Write it down, and then take what you've written down and then save those, and then go somewhere and do the very most important thing that you could possibly do for your business. Go somewhere and think. Think about what your consumers have said. Think about those ideas that they've helped create with you, and think about the probability of actually making some of those things come to fruition. It's not all that difficult, but it does take time and a real dedication. Also, reach out. I mean, come on, you know who your brand warriors are, don't you? If you don't know who your brand warriors are, you got some troubles. But if you know who your brand warriors are, those people who love your product or service, make sure that you reach out to them and ask them questions. Look, and this doesn't matter, believe me, it doesn't matter if you're running a brick and mortar store or if you're doing some kind of service provision. Ask your brand warriors, those people that come to your aid, that buy your products or services, ask them to help you. Ask them to be your better brand warriors. Ask them to come into the process of creating something new. Now, that takes a lot of guts on many people's part. You're going to be opening up your business to your consumers, and you're going to be sitting there asking them, hey, you've got some good ideas. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? You'll be surprised how readily available these people will sit down and listen to you, because they're already in your court. All you're doing is expanding their voice to listen to what they have to say. Take those ideas. Now, you got to go into this smart. You just can't say, okay, hey, look, we're going to sit around, 5 of us, and we're going to come up with several ideas for the business. That can get crazy. All right? So I wouldn't necessarily suggest you have everybody in the room at the same time. Do this over a course of several months. Talk to one person, take those notes, talk to another person, these brand warriors, and start to collect those very best ideas. And then, when you're set to launch whatever this thing is, allow your consumers, your brand warriors, to be the voice of what it is that they've helped create. You'll be amazed. People will go out of their way to say, hey, I helped XYZ company manufacture, distribute, or create the self-whistle winding torque inducer. I did that. And they'll tell all their friends, and their friends will tell their friends. And you start to build up a very credible base right at the very beginning. All right? Co-create your next product or service. It's pretty easy. You want to get in touch with us, leave us a comment or a question about anything that we're talking about today, go ahead and visit us. It's on Twitter. It's at InsightADV. It's at InsightADV. All right. What in the world is repackaging? I know. You know, some of the times we look at repackaging and we say, okay, hey, this is going to cost a lot of money. And sometimes it does. But sometimes it's the very best thing that you can do to revitalize what? The buzz in your product or service. Repackaging does all of that. Now, last week, our friends over at Pepsi-Cola repackaged for the first time in 16 years their 20-ounce bottles. We're going to show you a look at what the new 20-ounce Pepsi bottles look like, and then we're going to start to talk about what you can learn when we're talking about how to draw a crowd and cause the buzz, utilizing some strategy from Detroit Automakers, and that's the repackaging tool. So here's what the new packaging looks like for Pepsi-Cola. This is a new 20-ounce bottle. You see it's smaller on the bottom. You know, the gripability, I guess, that's all that's about. The new logo, by the way, that they rolled out several months ago. And here's a shot. I think we have a shot of the, yeah, there's the new logo along with the new packaging that Pepsi has created. Notice that the Pepsi logo runs vertically rather than horizontally on the bottle, adding to the look of the length. So they repackaged their thing, and they repackaged their bottles, and what did that do? Well, it caused a buzz. People started talking about Pepsi. They've gotten free publicity for days now. Days talking about, wow, did you see the new Pepsi container? What's going on here? They've repackaged something, and folks like me, folks in the advertising industry, folks in advertising age, all have picked up these messages about what Pepsi's doing. Sure, it took them 16 years, and we're a little bit surprised it took them that long to do that, but it is repackaging. Well, let's say that you're thinking you've got a product or service and it's a little tired. Maybe your logo's tired. Maybe it's been around for a long time. I want to show you something that that I experienced as a child growing up. My father, Allah Shalom, my father worked for Ford Motor Company. Actually, the Lincoln and Thunderbird, Continental Lincolns and Thunderbirds. He was at the Wixom Assembly Plant in Wixom, Michigan as an engineer in the engineering department. And what the folks at every car manufacturer did is they changed body styles every year. This is long before, kids. This is during the age when you could tell what make and model a car was from 100 yards. Today, you can't do that. I mean, they all look the same. I can't tell a 2010 vehicle from a 2013 vehicle or 2005 from a 2000. You just can't do it. I mean, they all look generally very much the same. But what was it like in the heady days of automobile manufacturing in Detroit? We've got 3 slides I want to show you, 3 images about how the Ford Motor Company, for example, at the Wixom assembly plant changed the look of their vehicles from year to year to year. These are three individual shots that were taken over the course of some time. This is a 1961, I believe, Lincoln Continental. And, you know, so can you imagine what went into creating this beautiful looking vehicle? All right, then we're going to jump ahead a couple of years and take a look at another model. Now, notice this picture, how different it is from the one that we've just seen. They repackaged the entire car. Ryan, can you flip back another one? Let's take a look at the 61. Okay, there's a 61 model, and we go forward. This is the 62 or 63 Lincoln Continental. And then we took a look at the 64 Lincoln Continental. You see how things have changed? Now kids, what you have to understand about this is that back in the day when they were doing model changeovers, these assembly car companies would shut down the plant for 6 to 8 weeks so they could retool everything. We're talking about repackaging and why it's so important. They could retool everything from the paint to the metal stamping machines, to the fabric that was used, to the plastic knobs that were being used, to the logos. Everything was stripped from the year before, repackaged, and put out. And what did all that cause? It caused a buzz. Believe me, when you go to a new car show today, you know, the new car, say that your neighborhood car dealer is having the new models roll in, you're never going to see anything like this. These are shots from the 1960s when they were rolling out brand new cars. Check the crowd. Look, this is a Chevrolet dealer. It happens to be in California in the 1960s. Look at the crowd. Hey, here's another one. This is Pontiac. Look at all of the people lined up to take a look at the brand new Pontiacs. Incredible crowds would shuttle into these new car showings, and it would cause such a buzz. This is in the heady days of Detroit, and you know, sure, it costs a lot of money, but what's my point? My point is this: if you've got a tired brand, if you've got a tired logo, if you've got a tired product, invest the time, effort, and money into repackaging that to be able to attract a buzz and a whole new crowd. It may already be something that you're manufacturing, and all you need to do is repackage the package. It gets pretty simple, right? I mean, it's the same Pepsi. They just changed the exterior of the bottle and their logo. Now, it costs a lot of money for them to do that, but you can do that on a much smaller scale no matter what it is that you're selling. Repackaging and why it's so important for your business. And it can be done. You got to get some help on that? Hey, we're available. That's what we do at Inside Advertising, Marketing, and Communications. What did he say? Inside Advertising, Marketing, and Communications. When we come back, we're going to have two guests in studio, Susan Judkins and Desmond Adams. Both ran for public office, and both have a great story, a backstory of what it was like on the business side of running for public office. Desmond Adams and Susan Judkins next with Insight on Business. We're powered by Webcast One Live. Back right after this.